Okay, we're going to try something I haven't done before here. We're going to do a shootout. So I've decided I have too much dead weight, stuff that's just sitting in a box, not being used. Time to start selling some stuff. So what I'm going to do is a series of videos, each step in my signal chain, doing a shootout with everything I own. For instance, today we're going to do compression. I have currently own 5 different compressors, so we're going to shoot those out, and then the next video I make in the particular series is going to be fuzz, and then I'll do one on overdrive, and then I'll do one on all the delays I own. And ideally, given my setting, we're going to end up with my new signal chain, and then I'll have plenty of stuff to sell off. To start though, I already spent some time because, for instance, my bass breaker 45 I'm not going to sell. My amps I'm not going to sell. I like my amps. Right now the bass breaker 45 is my favorite. I have that going out of the speaker out into a reactive load box, the 2 notes torpedo captor 8 ohm, and I switched it, so I am going into the speaker sim into channel 1 in the SSL6, and I'm blending it with my Nano Cortex that is running a matchless amp model or amp capture into, I want to say I have the 8x10 cabinet I'm using. Now again, I'm just using my ears on this, so where you might not typically use an 8x10 cabinet, when I blend that with the Fender, running the speaker sim off the 2 notes captor, they come together kind of nicely. So first thing I'll do is I'll solo. So this sound is my bass breaker 45. Oh, I hate it when shortcuts don't work. So that's just, I'm going in, I have the infinity looper here. I don't have any loop in it. I'm not sure if I want to save a loop and then do all my A-B comparisons, just playing back a loop, or if I'm going to play, I haven't decided. So it's there if I want to use it. Into the JHS buffered splitter. One way is going to the Nano Cortex. Nano Cortex is going into channel 2 of the SSL6. On both channels that I'm coming out of the amps, I am using the inline compression as well as the inline EQs just to blend them together better. I'm not going to change that throughout the course of all of these, so I've decided I'm going to live with whatever sound I have. As you could hear, that's kind of a pushed sound. I've been kind of into that pushed sound. I don't want to call it edge of breakup. I like calling it pushed, because if I play quiet and then you can get a little bit of that pushed sound. So that's just the bass breaker 45, and now I'm going to switch it over to the Nano Cortex. All right, and here's both together. All right, so let's look at the compressors I've got here. First one, no particular order by the way, is the Rockett Airchild. It is voiced like a Fairchild compressor. Of course, I've never used one, and I believe, I'd have to look it up. You can look it up on your own if you'd like to. So the Airchild 660, I believe, is a VCA compressor. We have the Strymon OB.1. which is an optical compressor. This one also has a boost on it. And I should note that the Fairchild compressor has a blend on it. Not all of these have a blend. So when I do these ABs, I'm going to have the blend turned all the way to wet. So it's somewhat of a fair comparison. Blending in the clean signal is a little bit of a luxury. But if I can't do that with all of them, I'm not going to do it with any of them, at least for this particular shootout. Okay, this is a kind of I've got a bunch of oddball compressors here. This is another optical compressor, the Foxgear Squeeze. This is actually extremely inexpensive. I'm not sure if they make them anymore. By the way, the Strymon OB.1 is not made anymore. But this one's an LA2A style. So that's one of two optical compressors I have. This one is the Warm Audio Pedal 76. This is actually a FET compressor, and this one has a Cinemag transformer in it. So theoretically, this should be the best sounding compressor I have. This is an 1176 style. There's a lot of options. So I have good hopes for this, and I do love all these, by the way. That's why I have them all. And then this is the newcomer. This is the Nyle. This is an 1176 voiced compressor on the top row, and then on the bottom row, it's a Neve 1073 voiced preamp. Now, I don't know, I'm guessing it's a VCA style compressor. Usually smaller ones like this are VCA style. I could be wrong, but again, I'm just going to use my ears for the sake of this particular. Now, another thing I like to do is stack compression. So I might end up with and if I do stack them, I'm going to whether it be the Airchild, the Pedal 76, or the Nyle would ideally be first. The Squeeze or the OB.1 would end up coming up second. So if I do end up stacking them, but right now we're just going to shoot them out against each other and see which ones sound better. So I'm going to pause this, and then we're going to come back and see what we get. All right, here we go. First up is the Foxgear Squeeze. Again, this is an LA2A, well, I'm going to call it an LA2A style compressor. I think one of their descriptors of it was it's a Gilmore-ish compressor. So having said that, I'm going to mute the mic and make some noises. Let's see what we get. Yeah, kind of behaves like a optical compressor. This is the bottom knob's makeup gain. The top knob is just, I guess they call it sustain. I don't know if I call that compression. But I think that's all I need to hear on that. Sounds fine. Nothing wrong with it, especially for the price. Notice I have it cranked and there isn't really much noise going on, if any. All right, so that's the Squeeze. Let's move on. All right, Airchild. All right, so you've got blend, makeup gain, tone, and then threshold. So I'm pushing it similarly. I think there's obviously more versatility with this one with that tone. I think the makeup gain also can add a little bit of saturation. I'm noticing that in this one, whereas the Squeeze was just fairly transparent. But again, another one that doesn't seem to be adding much noise, if any, to the chain or to the signal as it's coming in. So again, nothing that makes me think, wow, other than there's some nice life to it, I guess. All right, let's move on. All right, here we got the Nyle. Let's see what we get. Again, the top three knobs and the two switches are going to affect. So this switch is treble makeup. This switch is how fast the attack is. I usually have this on fast, but I'm going to leave it in the middle here to start. Because again, this is voiced like an 1176. And we'll even visit the 1073 side here momentarily to see what that does to add to the whole thing. So far, this sounds more like a Dynacomp to me than an 1176. And we'll do the warm audio next, just so the 1176s are next to each other. By the way, the fact that it sounds like a Dynacomp isn't a bad thing necessarily. It does set it apart from the other ones so far, though. Now it is adding a little bit of its own saturation. I do want to try the 1073 side though to see if I can, because I don't think that's particularly good for my setting here, but it's not bad. So let's see if the 1073 helps fix things. Now what I do with the 1073, at least in this setting, is I'm cranking the preamp volume and then using the gain knob to level match it, and then this is just EQ, so we'll just set that to noon. Let's see what we get. It definitely adds a very mid-focused push to it, which is, I would not associate that with a 1073 or an 1176, but this has it. And it's not really working right now, but it's actually the most unique so far, which is compelling to me. It makes me want to dig into this more and see what I can get out of it. But let's move on. All right, here we go. Warm audio pedal 76. Now this one is actually set up the most like the actual compressor it's made to emulate. It's got a transformer in it. It's a Class A FET compressor. It's got the traditional controls on this. So there's no reason why this shouldn't be the best sounding one, but let's find out. Now I have it cranked obviously on the input, but that's noisy. That's very noisy. Almost to the point where you wonder if there's something not right in there. I'm going to try the balanced output on this. Or not, because I don't have a balance cable set up for this. I do own a balance cable. I don't feel like going and getting it though. So let's mess around a little more. I'm not hip on that noise at all. The compressor itself sounds good though. All right, one more moment here of silence, see if that noise is present. All right, I'm not noticing it so much now, may not be a factor. That might be my favorite sound so far as a compressor. Okay, last but not least, this is the Strymon OB.1, so we're back to optical compressor land. you can hear the Velcro in the background because I'm kind of putting them in the order that I think they worked. I like them all, but again, I'm looking for them to work in this blended amp setting that I have set up. And again, right now, for instance, I still like the stack compression. So in my head, I've got an idea of which compressor I like first in chain, because it won't be the OB.1. Even if this is my favorite one, it's not going to be the first compressor. So it's kind of between the OB.1 and the Squeeze, and maybe the Nyle. Might have to try that in a different video. But right now, let's get into the OB.1. All right, so the OB.1, just hearing that little bit, this is exactly what I want it to do. This thing is fantastic. Now, this is a very straightforward compressor. So you've got compression and output gain compensation. The middle one's for the boost, if we add that in. The boost also has 3 voices. So depending on how your mix is, you can tailor it a little between pushing the mids or pushing treble, which is very well voiced. I'll add that in a little bit here. I don't typically use the boost on this. I was kind of curious as to whether this would stand out to my ear as my favorite, and it very clearly is. And I haven't even played my own guitar through it, so I'm going to mute this and mess around a little more, but I'll add the boost in and give a little taste of the mid and the treble push that it can give as well. Okay, so my final ranking for this particular shootout is the OB.1 wins. For the sound I want from a compressor, the OB.1 optical. This is similar to the Nyle. It's one of those ones where, like, how do people miss it? I don't understand how those ended up. Well, I think Strymon announced when they discontinued this, they were just having a hard time getting parts for it. But I think the Nyle was kind of a flop. For those of you that like that real mid-pushed sound, and I still feel like I need to explore this Nyle more, because that's the one I've had the least amount of time. I just got this last week. But I would say my second is the Warm Audio, the Pedal 76. That noise that's coming out of it that's like the worst thing in my setting. If that noise is there, it's the worst distraction. However, when I dialed it into settings that I thought I liked, I didn't notice it. So I think my next step on the next video I do, which probably won't be tonight, I'll probably do it tomorrow. We're going to add the OB.1 into the signal chain, and then we're going to see which compressor sounds good in front of it, okay? So Pedal 76 was number 2. I'd say the Airchild was number 3 for me, mainly because it added a certain life to it, and it was very balanced sounding. The Airchild might sound really good in front of the Strymon, especially since I can blend in some dry signal to feed the OB.1 more dry signal rather than just compressed signal. I like that potential of the Airchild. The Squeeze was my number 4, only because it's pretty transparent for the price you get it for. See, this is where, like, I'm going to say the Nyle and the Squeeze are tied for 4th place. There's no 5th place here. The Nyle has strangely the most options, which means that I might have to explore it a little more, and I am new to it. The reason why the Nyle did not score higher for me is it's very mid-pushed, and I'm not a mid-pushed kind of guy. Or at least the sound I'm creating right now is not a mid-pushed sound. The Matchless paired with the Bassbreaker 45, it feels like it takes something away rather than enhances something, and that's not a feeling I particularly like to have, or at least that I'm going for right now. So I'll leave the loop in the Infinity 2. We'll place the Strymon in its new permanent spot, and again on the next video we're going to take the WA76, or excuse me, the Pedal 76 and the Airchild, and we're going to shoot them out in stacked compression. So don't know if this means anything to you, or you've heard all these before and you've already got your own opinions, but maybe the little bit of noise I made here today might give you some information that can help you make a decision going forward. So next video is going to be stacking compression. We'll talk to you soon.